Welcome to The Human Thread, a space for those seeking something real in a world dominated by noise and algorithms. I'm Greg, and here we unravel the fabric of authentic connection through creativity, meaningful conversations, and reflections on the messy, beautiful human experience. Let's dive into the threads that bind us beyond likes and follows to meaning, art, and genuine dialogue. Last week, I wrote about expertise and how it sometimes kills creativity, and about how being uninhibited as a beginner, or let's face it, possibly just naive, can lead to breakthrough creativity. But there's another side to this story: the audience. That's right, you and me, the people consuming all of this art, music, writing, and creativity. We play a bigger role in this dynamic than we might realize. We forgive the amateur what we punish in the professional. Think about Nirvana's first album, Bleach. I've heard it was recorded for just $600 at a local studio in Seattle. And by traditional standards of professionally produced albums, it was rough and unpolished and imperfect. But those imperfections weren't just tolerated, they became part of its charm. The guitar sound, Kurt Cobain's vocals, the raw kind of garagey production contributed to its authenticity. Critics and fans, including high school me, loved these qualities because it felt real. We don't just tolerate these imperfections, we celebrate them. We call them, quote, authentic, raw, or honest. Now imagine if Adele released an album tomorrow with that same technical flaw. The internet would explode with criticism. At best, people would try to find deep meaning to why a polished performer would put something out so unrefined. And if the answer wasn't satisfactory, the reviews would be merciless. The industry would question if she had lost her touch, and social media would overflow with hot takes about her decline. The double standard is striking, and it definitely affects how artists evolve. We have a cultural fascination with untrained genius. The high school dropout who codes a revolutionary app. The brilliant outsider who is discovered living in isolation. The musician who never learned to read music but plays by ear. These stories captivate me far more than the ones about diligent practice and methodical improvement. There's something really irresistible about natural talent, unfettered by convention. It just feels magical. And I love retelling these anecdotes to my kids and other people that need inspiration. This leads to what I like to call the beginner's hall pass. When someone is just starting out, audiences grant them an unofficial permission slip to experiment. It's their first novel, we say. Can you believe it? The very fact of being new becomes part of what we're evaluating. We don't just judge the work, we judge it, quote, relative to experience level. And this creates a strange window of opportunity for creators. A brief moment when bold choices are not just allowed, but they're expected. But this window really closes fast. By that second album or the second novel, audiences start to apply different standards. They expect growth, refinement, and maturation. And paradoxically, they often mourn the very rawness they pushed the artist to move beyond. And this is what starts kind of that career death spiral if we're not careful. This audience dynamic creates a predictable trajectory for these artists. Number one, stage one, early work, praised for their freshness and originality despite technical limitations. Phase two, middle work. Their technical skills improve, but audiences begin to miss that, quote, original spark. And phase three, their later work. The artist either continues refining towards technical perfection and gets labeled too polished, or deliberately tries to recapture early rawness and gets accused of trying too hard to be authentic. It's really a no-win situation, and our contradictory expectations are partly to blame. The latitude for risk-taking shrinks with success. Professional critics make this situation even worse. They've trained to identify innovation and technical excellence simultaneously, and that's really an impossible standard. They praise a debut for breaking all the rules and then criticize the follow-up for not showing growth, and their opinions shape public reception in powerful ways. They become the voice saying yes, but to whatever choice an artist makes. But also early adopters make things bad too. I admit that I'm like this, really, especially from music. In the 90s, this was most apparent when I just couldn't get into Radiohead's OK Computer, when others who may have not followed them since the Pablo Honey days found it so revolutionary. In reality, I just wanted more of the bends. But OK Computer's artistic vision and departure from the previous style was just too much for me to jump onto. This is a problem. By all measures, OK Computer is not only a fantastic album musically, their evolution of their sound and quite frankly the balls to change their sound and constant reinvention of their sound throughout their body of work is really the true measure of creativity. There's a liberation of obscurity. There's a freedom that comes with being unknown, with having no audience expectations to fulfill, no critics analyzing your evolution, no fans demanding you recapture the past magic. This is why some established artists release work under pseudonyms, why authors switch genres using different names, why musicians form side projects with deliberately limited audiences. They're trying to recreate that beginner's hall pass or maybe just give themselves permission to try things new. And that freedom from the weight of reception is invaluable. Imagine if in the 90s, Garth Brooks just released a rock album instead of under that not-so-secret pseudonym Chris Gaines. Would your opinion of him change? Would your opinion of Garth Brooks as a country artist change? Would your opinion of Garth Brooks as a musical artist change? Those are interesting things to think about. So what can we do with these ideas? As creators, maybe we just need to tune out audience reaction and criticism. This is a lot easier said than done. Or maybe we just need to remember that reception often has more to do with the audience's relationship to our journey than to the work itself. As audience members, we might try to be more consistent in how we evaluate art, to ask whether we're holding different artists to different standards based on their stories rather than their work, to consider whether we're part of the pressure that stifles the very originality we claim to value. In last week's post, I explored the tension between expertise and creativity, and now I see that tension exists not just within the artist, but in the space between artist and audience. Have you noticed this paradox in how you respond to art? Do you find yourself judging beginners and experts by different standards? Have you felt the weight of expectations change how you create or share your own work? I'd love to hear your experiences with this. In the end, we're all both creators and audience members in this great conversation. Thanks for joining me on this journey. If today's episode sparked curiosity or resonated with you, let's keep the conversation going on the Human Thread Substack. And until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the human threads that connect us.